This is a free sample of the book.
Your Parents Were Wrong, Debunking and Replacing Outdated Advice
By Cairo Copeland. Available on Amazon, Audible, and reinventideal.com.
Chapter 8. Your boss is probably stupid. Parents say, listen to your boss. He's smart and probably got there by being a great employee. Reality says, most bosses are stupid and only got to where they are by sucking lots of dick. Speaking of cocksuckers, how could we forget about the bosses at work? The classic tale of climbing the corporate ladder, where hard work and meritocracy reign supreme, or so we've been led to believe. You see, the myth of the competent boss is as old as time itself, a comforting narrative designed to reassure us that those in positions of power have earned their stripes through diligence and skill. But, as any seasoned employee will tell you, the reality is often far different from the ideal. Picture yourself in a bustling office, surrounded by suits and ties and the faint scent of ambition lingering in the air. Your boss, that omnipotent figure of authority, sits perched behind the mahogany desk, dispensing wisdom and guidance with all the finesse of a seasoned sage. But look closer, and you'll see that the emperor has no clothes, or rather, the boss has no clue. Bosses are not the paragons of competence they're cracked up to be. In fact, more often than not, they're just glorified middle managers who've mastered the art of sucking off their superiors while simultaneously shitting on their subordinates. It's a delicate dance of office politics and power plays, where meritocracy takes a back seat to nepotism and favoritism. Take, for example, my time at Fidelity Investments, where incompetence reigned supreme and meritocracy was a distant dream. I watched in disbelief as my managers, who never set foot in the trenches of client meetings or cold calls, attempted to impart their so-called wisdom upon me. Their advice was about as useful as a screen door on a submarine. And let's not even get started on their so-called coaching skills. It was like taking dating advice from a supermodel. Sure, they may have had success in their own right, but their experience was about as relevant to my situation as riding a bicycle is to a paraplegic. They simply couldn't relate to the struggles and setbacks that I faced on a daily basis, and their attempts at guidance fell flat like a pancake on a hot griddle. So what's the moral of this cautionary tale? Take everything your superiors tell you with a grain of salt. Just because someone has a fancy title and a corner office doesn't mean they have all the answers. In fact, more often than not, they're just as clueless as the rest of us, stumbling through the corporate maze with all the grace of a drunken giraffe on roller skates. Your whole life you've been told to listen to the adults and superiors, whether that be teachers or supervisors or even your parents. Just as a fish doesn't know he's wet, a kid born in the same time as you can't know that they're swimming in stupidity, and the lifeguards are retards. Lifetards. I can't find a period of time in the history of the world that was marred by the adults being so incredibly wrong. And that includes today's bosses.
Thank you for listening to this free sample of the book.
Your Parents Were Wrong, Debunking and Replacing Outdated Advice
By Cairo Copeland. Available on Amazon, Audible, and reinventideal.com.